How's it going, people? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the Fourever Arsenal podcast. One man down. It's been a regular occurrence this season, but it is what it is. Jordan, he's currently away. So I thought, let's just go 3-man up and see what's what and talk about the game. Just went, the game coming up, and obviously the big one next week as well. Cheer up, Lee.
Well, it was 2 at one stage. It was the famous 2.
Yeah, but we're here.
Yeah, we're here. Yeah, we are.
Albeit some minutes late. I will admit that. Albeit some
minutes late. Yeah,
some minutes. I mean, there's that
30 minutes late. Huh? 30 minutes late.
No. 29.
I'll give you the grace of 1 minute, and then we'll go 29.
No, but I just do it in fact.
In the land, not again, but you're bad. My bad. That's it. You're forgiven. We'll let you off. All your millions out there, your Twitter followers, they'll be happy that you're here.
James, I apologize. Yeah. And Lee, my bad.
But you know what? I'm not going to mention this fella's name, right? And he's an Irish guy, right? He said, I love the pod. Brilliant. Like, what do I do to get a mention on it? So I said, what's your name? So I'm over from Ireland. So I said, fantastic. So I said, I'll mention you tomorrow, And he goes, as I'm walking away, he goes, and by the way, Turkish's team was the better team. So you're not getting a mention. You know who you are, but you're not getting a mention. Come on. But he ain't done to wind me up. So he's that close you are, my little Irish friend, to getting a mention. But you're not.
Probably would have forgotten his name anyway. You know how you
enjoy I've got his name. But I'm not saying no more than that, am I, my little Irish friend?
Oh man, they're telling you at the game. Love it. But yeah, you was at the game, Lee. We always start with you. It did feel a bit we don't watch you with audio, but the chat was letting us know it felt a bit flat. It wasn't the loudest game they've been to, and you probably agree. But I guess international break, the calm before the storm being Real Madrid. What did you make of it? Return back to Premier League action.
It just seemed like one of those end of season games a few years ago. I've got to be honest. That's the first time I've gone into I didn't have to queue up, straight in and work. It seems very empty in and around the ground. I was actually surprised there was more people in the ground when I actually got there. I thought the atmosphere was flat before the game. I didn't really, like the Fourever Arsenal. And Miles were not bothered singing that really. It just wasn't there.
You mean North London Forever?
Oh yeah. What did I say?
Forever Arsenal. I mean, I'd love for us to have a song.
Yeah, I love that to have a song like that. We should have probably got more people singing it. So it just wasn't. I don't know. I haven't. Considering we haven't been there since is it 2.5 weeks since the Chelsea game?
Yeah. What? Yeah.
I thought. I thought I'd be a little bit more infused. It was funny because we was going up with a couple of my mates and we was going this time next week we'd be all buzzing, wouldn't we, for the game? And I get that. We're all eyes on, of course, Real Madrid. And then the game starts and 10 minutes, 15 minutes in, the biggest blow for me was when I see Gabriel running and when he went down, I went, oh no, and can I say it from that moment on? I know that Saka come on and he lit it up a little bit. Spoilt my night, guys. Just absolutely. Do you know when we played Crystal Palace, we beat them 5-1 just before, and that was the day Saka got injured, and people were going, "Why are you not happy?" I said, "That's our league season gone." You know what I mean? When Saka went down, I just feel like the Champions League hopes. I know they weren't great hopes. I think that is such a big blow for us. Really is, And it showed, guys. I thought defensively yesterday we was, I don't know what go. We leave ourselves open so much at home. But what was worrying me about me, I've watched the goals back. Iwobi and I can't think who was it on the right hand side. They pick the ball up in their own half. No one engages with them until they're in the 6-yard area.
A few times.
Yeah, on both occasions. How can you do that? You think it happens once and he should score. 6 yards out, he should score. And then 5 minutes, to the end, we're doing it. And Mikel Arteta's doing his nut on the side and all that. Like, I just felt it was just an all-round poor performance at times yesterday. Saka lit it up, and then I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, Timber's gone down. Why are you risking him? Like, get him off. I just felt there was a lot of things wrong about last night that, and people will turn around and quite rightly say, "I'll stop moaning, Lee. You've won the game and all that." I look at games sometimes, and sometimes it's good when you win a game because you can still look at things positively. But there are some things in this Arsenal side I think showed up yesterday why we are where we are.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, on the watch along, the same thing. Laurie was doing the same thing about, take off your Real Madrid glasses. How can you take off your Real Madrid glasses when that's the biggest game left? If we were still in for the Premier League, then trust me, these two games, both Fulham and the one coming at Everton, it would have been full focus on those games. If if we were still in for the Premier League, then we would be talking about the impact of this injury on our Premier League run as well. It just happened to be that that's all we have left. So I'm with you. I can't just, even with the Palace one, I'm with you. And you hear the same shit. Cheer up, we've just won. Well, come on. I'm sure you can understand why there's a bit of frustration, upset, because it's essentially the equivalent of Saka in defence for us this season. That's what Gabriel's been. So to have one come back and one come in, I've said the gift and the curse many a time, and that's just what it feels like. I can't really dwell too much on Saka's return, as great a return as it was. Smiling, happy to see him 25, 30 minutes, or 30, 33 in the end, I think, with the added on. And a goal, plus some moments. Perfect return. But Gabriel missing, it just cancels it out, evens it out for me. And I just can't. It was a good win. Fulham are a decent side, but it wasn't all about the win. It was about the prep for Real Madrid. And when the prep for Real Madrid starts with your best centre back getting injured, it's looking, yeah. And what you mentioned, the whole transition that Fulham, the players were getting into the box before ever being challenged. I've seen that before from Arsenal this season. We've conceded a lot of goals like that. Even Raul Jimenez, the last game against Fulham, it was the same style, into space, couple passes, goal. Real Madrid are the best at that. They're the best at that. It's all good and well giving Iwobi and Muniz these chances or the space. Mbappe, Vinicius, Rodrigo, Bellingham is a different kettle of fish. So give them that space and we will get mauled. And I didn't think we were gonna, I've never said we're gonna get battered by Real. I said long day. I'm not optimistic at all. But if we're open like that, they will batter us.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think we will be, for what it's worth. I think we'll set up to be a lot more. I think we'll go into a low block actually, which was not. It was what I enjoyed us seeing actually score what felt like a goal in transition, somewhat on the counter attack with that second goal, because we're going to need a bit of that. And Martinelli, Saka will be key. I thought Marino, from the minute he scored his first goal, really, really improved. But I kind of agree with you, Turkish. Like, I know people can say, cheer up, we won. And to be fair, I was in quite good spirits at the end of the game. We had some fun on the watch along and ultimately we won. And that's kind of, well, I was about to say that's the important thing, but I don't know, this might be one of those rare occasions where, is it the most important thing? I mean, the Gabriel injury is huge. Obviously, we hope it's really precautionary. Obviously, we hope it's, a case of he felt something. He's going to need a week, but he's back. Maybe he'll be back for the second leg at best. I don't know. But that is kind of overshadowing it, having slept on it. I mean, it's a bad one. And, one thing I've learned from this season is, because I've tried to be so hopeful throughout all of it, is just be realistic, James. And it goes all the way back to the summer. We signed Raheem Sterling, and I'm going, well, you never know. You never know. You could rediscover. But the realistic outcome is he wasn't going to be good because he hasn't been good for Chelsea, and Man City sold him 2 years before. Let's fast forward to Saka getting injured after that. Well, you never know. You got Waneri and, run of games, but you never know. We might come through, might find another solution. Realistically, we're a worse team than Bukayo Saka. And then we go to this Gabriel injury. He's gone off injured. Well, okay, but, we won, so we built some momentum, but, let's see how he's doing. Realistically, he's out for the Real Madrid game, and realistically, we are a worse team without Gabriel. And our chance of going through just got much slimmer. I'm trying to just see things more through the lens of, but James, look at this clearly. it's a bad moment, and I don't know if the night had a net positive. If it means we've lost Ben White, Timber, and Gabriel, even them having to come off is just not a good sign. Even if they are kind of available for Real Madrid and they kind of get themselves, say Ben White and Timber, for example, it's still like, oh no, but what's going on with White? Why did he have to miss out? What problems he got behind the scenes? Timber's played so much football. So I'm sorry, people who want to jump in and get a really positive pod, and we will touch on some real positives for sure. But I've woken up feeling more like, oh no, that's just not the night we needed, really, despite having won and actually had a really good second half performance. Sorry.
Also, James, don't forget Calafiori injured as well.
Yeah, from weeks before.
He would have been the natural replacement to come in for Gabriel. When you think to yourself, you know what, good strong player would be the, not as good as Gabriel, but the drop off isn't as massive. But with him out as well, and as you said, like Ben White coming down, Ben White, for instance, has not played for 4 or 5 when he's got injured. And this thing about, and I'm going to defend Arteta a little bit, but I'm not going to defend him because I see things yesterday that really annoyed me about him. But Gabriel missed the game against Brazil because of suspensions, come back an extra week, hasn't played at the weekend, perfectly rested, really, hamstring injury. There's no rhyme or reason why these things happen. You can play every game and get through, or be rested and pick up these injuries. It just shows you this yesterday, he's gone for a sprint. That's what worries me. It was a sprint that he was going on to, and he breaks down. There's no precaution. There's no nothing. He's down. And the minimum for a hamstring injury is 3 weeks minimum. So I'm thinking that's a 5-weeker, a bit like the Gabriel Martinelli one at Newcastle. It's a massive blow. But it's now we're on the bare bones of the back again.
I know this is exactly, Lee. Sorry to cut you, but this is what, sorry, people. And I know we haven't had a lot of positive pods this season, but come on, let's just see it for what it is. I mean, we were kind of just about scraping together an attack again, just about. And now our defense has become something to talk about with 4 massive defenders all really in question for the next 2 games. And of course, one of them is Real Madrid. And you said something really poignant on the watchdog yesterday, Turkish. You said, I'm not blaming anyone, I'm just angry. And I think sometimes people always think if we're mad about a situation, that we must be pointing fingers and getting annoyed at someone and going, well, Mikel or physios, or we're just annoyed. We're just really annoyed that we can't, pull together something of an actual first 11 for any part of the season, not remotely for any part of the season. Have we had what's felt like our best 11 outside of maybe the first kind of 4 or 5 games? And that's really, really frustrating for us. Now, like I said, Marino, I actually thought yesterday looked the most comfortable in the 9 he actually has. The attack started to click in that second half. And you think, okay, Saka's back. There's something here. And then you look at the defense and going, oh my word, what do we do here? Now we're hoping White could be fit so he could play centre back, whatever. But Lee, I wanted to bring up something you were talking about before, and I hope you don't mind me bringing it up, but you were talking about what Martinelli and the instruction he was getting from Arteta late in the game. Tell us about that, because I've got some thoughts on that.
I'm furious. I was furious. You just spoke about Sterling just a minute ago. I thought Martinelli was sensational yesterday. His work rate was incredible. Not only that, there was the end product. He'd done a run, and we're talking 85 minutes. Just before that, he was rolling his socks down and everything like that. And I'm thinking, fatigue's coming. Why don't you just take him off? Bring on a defender. But as you just pointed out there, Sterling was on the bench. You could have just brought him on for the last five minutes to see out, just do the defensive work and fatigue and everything like that. But it made a run, and you could see he was gone. And Arteta was shouting at him telling him to get back into shape, get back here, do this, do that. And if I was Martinelli, I could have actually just turned around and just say, I'll just F off. Appreciate what I've done. Appreciate the work that I've done for the team. And you're telling me to do that, like, you know. And there are other times, James, 60 minutes gone on games, he's been taking him off on a regular basis, like, you know. And I'm thinking you're going into the last 5 minutes of a game when you've got a game coming up on Saturday, a game coming up on Tuesday, which is the massive game. We need Martinelli for the game against Real Madrid. And you're running him ragged to just defend, just to defensive stuff out of him, like, you know. And I'm looking at that and I'm just thinking, really, if you want to do that, why aren't you bringing on Tierney for the last 5 minutes just to give him that rest? Or Sterling is probably even better, but he doesn't. And we could have lost Martinelli yesterday because of fatigue, and it could have pulled up. Saying, don't forget, it's not that long ago. He's just come back from an hamstring injury. But for what he's done as an attacking player in that game, to be getting rollocked for not chasing back and getting into shape when physically he couldn't do it, I thought was a disgrace from Arteta. Really, I really do. I was really annoyed about it. Like, I get. Arteta was frustrated. You could see what he was, but it was down his side as well. And Miles Lewis-Skelly was completely out of position for the goal. He's not getting onto him, just getting onto Martinelli all the time, the attacking player. And I think that, you know, as we know, Jordan gives him a lot of stick and everything like that. When you have a sensational game like that, I just thought it was wrong.
And so I wanted to jump in on this bit when you were talking about it before we were recording, and the reason. Because, you know, everyone always says, oh, we're not physios. What do we know when it comes to injuries and players overplaying or whatever? And sure, absolutely right. I've got no doubt there's a medical department who have all the data, all the numbers, analyze it all, and are able to say, this player needs a rest, that player needs a rest. You know, you should be rotating here, or Martinelli's fine to do 90 or whatever it might be. I've got no doubt about it. But what I think you don't need to be qualified when it comes to, you know, physiotherapy to have an opinion on is the physical demands that Mikel Arteta asks of his team. And I don't know, I've said this so many times, I don't know if there's any set of wingers in the Premier League that work harder, because Martinelli and Saka have to press, and then they have to drop sometimes into a back five, back six. They have to track wingers all the time, or wing backs, as they kind of power up and down the pitch. And then more often than not, they're the ones taking set pieces. They're the ones who are going over. You know, I say it, I know we laugh because it's just football. It's kicking a ball, right? But Saka, you know, it's not just playing all the minutes. It's tracking back. It's every kick of a corner. Every corner is a flex of a muscle. Is a you know, it's working that quadriceps as he's sort of whipping a ball into the box. Every time Raya gets a goal kick, and we've been doing this a lot this season, we've been kicking it to the wide areas, meaning Saka's constantly jumping up for headers, means getting clattered more. Like the physical demands we put on our players. And so what you're telling about Arteta, I didn't obviously see it, I wasn't at the game. But him having a go at Arteta, it doesn't surprise me he was having a bit of a pop at Martin. I've seen things like that before. And I kind of think like, man, I don't know if there's a set of wingers in particular in the Premier League that have those physical demands. So while I think he's been so unlucky, Arteta, on the injury front in a lot of ways this season, there's definitely certain things where I think for next season, could we actually manage our energy levels a bit better?
100%. And you know, I look at that yesterday and I'm thinking to myself, you know, bring Tierney on for the last 10 minutes or Shinchenko.
Something like that, yeah.
Break. Give him that break. You know, not only that, he was outstanding yesterday. That was Martinelli back to his
he was great. We'll give him real praise in a bit, but yeah, he was.
Yeah, really, you know, and I just think, you know, when you look at that, you got the last 20-25 minutes when Saka come on, you got Saka doing what he's doing on the right, Martinelli doing what it was back to the exciting stuff. And you saying, oh, Marino played well and all that. I think, yeah, anybody would play well with them two playing at their peak. I'm not saying that Saka is now, but you know what I'm saying.
Sure.
But then all of a sudden, like, I would have been furious if he would have broke down in that game. Now he might not play on Saturday. It might be like, you know, he gets the rest and all that. Like, but I just think that people like Jordan that criticise Martinelli and people that criticise Martinelli, go and have a look at that performance yesterday. Go and have a look what he done. Go and have a look at the work rate, the defensive work rate. I see him 4 or 5 times in at left back. You know what I mean? Like, and now people will turn around and go, yeah, that's what you expect your players to do. But there are a lot of wide players are not doing
No,
that.
not to the level they do.
They're not, and then still being then being able to produce. Now, if you're doing all of that work rate and everything like that, we've all played football. You say, when it matters, he may be fatigued and his cross is not quite good enough because he's doing so much work, so much graft. He's not fresh when it comes to those real moments. But yesterday he was. Everything he'd done, from the first minute, taking on the man, getting in crosses and all that, I look at that, and I just think, I didn't like what I see yesterday, and he's really getting into him, you know what I mean? And to his credit, Martinelli, he listened to it and got back in, and but I think at the end of the day, Mikel should be a little bit appreciative of what he actually does for the team. Wingers are individuals to a certain degree. Forwards are individuals in a team sort of game. I don't see any winger in the Premier League working as hard as he is in the areas that he does, And I thought it was a fantastic performance from him yesterday. And that's how I see it, And I just feel he just deserves, people saying, I want to get rid of him and everything like that, And I get what he hasn't doing well, but just have a look at that performance yesterday, and that's why he struggles a little bit.
There's a thin. My thing is, there's a thin line between everyone leaving it all on the line for you because they believe, and then that doubt coming in, that questioning coming in. And I think when you look at two title challenging seasons and you see the way both kind of ended, one we leading the way for the majority, one. We've done as much as we can, and one result cost us in the last 19 games or 18 games, whatever it was. That can take a lot out of you as a human, as a sportsman. So all of the, when it comes to the extra instruction, the extra, run that extra yard, it can go from, I'm going to do anything for this man, to shut the hell up real quick because you need to win. You need to win, There's not many managers that can get away with asking for this much from players without having a resume. Usually it comes with a resume because the players know that man, I'm going to work hard and we're going to win. That man's going to put me in the history books. And I'm talking about a Pep Guardiola here in terms of we've even seen managers like a Conte, for example, who's actually won major honours, not work out here because he was at Tottenham, number one of the teams, but he won at Chelsea. For example, look at that year at Chelsea. They fought for him. He changed up the formation and it worked and they won the league. But just like that, the belief went. And even for a manager like Conte, who won major honours, not just here in Italy as well, and who's got a name even as a footballer, it just flipped like that. And that belief went and then everything went with it. So
brilliant.
On one hand, with Arteta, I got to give credit for him to squeeze as much as he did squeeze out. But that transfer window not only let us down, it let the players down as well. And I'm sorry, I know the players have thought about that. I know the players knew from that summer, what the hell are we doing signing Sterling? And it's not just us that think these things. So on top of giving everything for 2 years, fighting through injuries or whatever it is, they've gone into this season without the necessary gusto, the recruitment that they can look at and say, all right, we've given it all, but now we've got this guy. This guy's not Mourinho. This guy's not Calafiori. This guy's not Sterling. This guy was meant to be a Gyökeres. It was meant to be an attacker, a star signing that might give them the one more bit of life needed to go again, to go through the pain barrier again, to run that extra mile a season again. But without that, a lot of the players will be looking around, like a lot of fans are looking around at this point, either leaving games early because there's nothing left in the league or not even going to games because there's nothing left in the league. I understand that because the club have essentially put the players in it. So the thin line, I don't like hearing that with Martinelli because you are right. Take him off. You learning your lesson because Timber should have probably been off as well if you're talking the way you're talking about Timber after. If there was any doubt at that moment, there's no point in risking it. You might as well have taken him off.
Listen, I don't want to be bashing in Arteta all the time and all that lot, but
we did win, but I hear you. I think these are very valid points that are being made. People go so negative. I'm like, but guys, Come on, like let's look at the bigger picture here.
Yeah, you've lost Ben White in training, right? You've now lost Gabriel. Why risk Timber? You know what I mean? Like, and in the end, he put Thomas Partey out there, like, you know, with 20. Why didn't he do it? He could have done that earlier than that, like, you know, and just saying, do you know what? There's a bigger picture here, like, you know what I mean? We got to go to Everton, which is not going to be an easy game, by the way, at the weekend. We're hoping that not one of those players gets injured. You know, this could have been a game where we could have left out Gabriel or Saliba for one game. You know what I mean? We can't do that now. Saliba's got to play. And I'm not going to enjoy that because if he doesn't imagine if Saliba goes down against Everton now. You know, these are all the things that I just think that Arteta's got to do. But I just want to flip the side of it all, like, you know, about Sterling. Put yourself in his shoes for everybody at this moment in time, right? You've been in and around the team for all this time, like the Saka's replacement, like, you know, you're on the bench, Saka comes on in front of you, right? Fair enough, you know what I mean? Like, that's going to happen. Like, then Trossard comes on in front of you, and then you're sitting on the bench and you see the manager flogging Martinelli into the ground, and you're still not coming on. What does that tell you?
The joke signing.
It just shows you, you know, you're not trusted. I don't know how, you know what I mean? What am I going to do? I can't even come on when we're 2-0 up and a wide player is fatigued. It does. It just, why was that signing made? You know what I mean? You have to ask those questions.
It's so bad. What happened in the summer is so bad, typified by the Sterling signing, that they should come out and address it. That's how I feel. It was so bad going into the season of expectation that they should come out. I've never seen, name me another team that are on the cusp or challenging winning titles that have done what we've done in the summer. And I'm not talking about us in the past, because we can find other examples. So someone
they have
come out and but it's obvious.
Maybe they have publicly addressed it. Maybe Edu leaving and Berta coming in was. We don't know. We know so little about why Edu actually left. But maybe that is the club addressing it.
Maybe, but you know, after all the trust and faith put into the process, it'd be nice to get a bit of, you know, you can come out and say be excited, you know, but you can come out and explain, okay, we wasn't happy with that as well. Stop trying to, in my opinion, justify it over time. I think we have tried to justify the Sterling one over time. It's a fact. You should just cut that contract. That will tell me. Cut the contract now. Just send him back. Should have been done December. That would have told me, you know, you effed up. But they continued trying to, you know, sell it. Oh yeah, he's doing all right in training. He's gonna get his chance. But come on, we knew what it was. The club can't get away with that again. So I think they know that.
Didn't even trust him yesterday. You 2-0 up against Fulham in a game when you've got a massive game a week later. You know, when you can, and he doesn't trust him. He just says you everything you know. Like, you know, I listen. You know, I didn't think. Hindsight's a wonderful thing. I know. You know, I didn't think it was as bad a window as people made out of it. But on top of what happened in January, it was. You know, what I mean, it was a complete. You know, it was a complete mistake. When you think about it, Calafiori's hardly played. Mourinho has come in and started to show. And I want to give him a little bit of praise, really, because, you know, we've all been a little bit critical. I thought he was very, very good yesterday. I thought he was brilliant when he went back into midfield, by the way. That's what you want to see. Some of his turns, hold up play, passing. That's what you wanted to see from him. Like, I was really impressed with his performance yesterday. I'll be honest. I thought like he was one of the positives. And you have to give him a bit of credit. What's that? 7 goals since he's come back? Is it 7 goals since he's come there?
Let's have a little look.
The league, but he might have scored in the Champions. PSV, he got 1 in the first 7-1, so that's 6. Yeah, I mean, did he score in the second leg? I can't remember.
No, I don't think he did. Just having a little look on Transfermarkt now.
5 in 10 in the league is still as good as Jesus.
It's a fantastic, you know, like. You've got to give credit to it, like, you know, it's decent really. Like his numbers up there are decent, you know.
Mourinho's got 7 goals in all competitions. It's not bad.
Oh, he does
No,
have
I
a
think like, he's got 6 since he's gone up top. Then, like, yeah, because I think he had
As a
one.
striker, he's got 5 goals and 1 assist in 8 games.
That's pretty good, isn't it?
That's very good. It's
You know
very
what
good
I mean?
for him doing a job up front.
That's just league, isn't it?
All comps, 5 goals and 1 assist up. Yeah.
So
it's transfer mark test it as all competitions here. Which makes sense, unless they haven't updated from yesterday, but I think they have.
Okay.
Like, you know, you have to say that's a pretty good return. And I felt yesterday that, listen, Saka makes such a difference. I can't emphasise how much he does. You know, with him doing what he's doing on that side, will open up things. You know, and maybe it will be good. But I thought yesterday, I know that it was a bit of a lucky deflection, but still done well to squeeze a shot off from there. Like, you know, 3 players around him, good first touch, gives him the chance to get the shot in. And I felt that probably was one of his better performances yesterday. Like, you know, so I know we're all sort of saying, and I know you're a big thing of saying Trossard in it, but now I feel that, you know, that against Real Madrid, I would play him in that role. I thought, you know, looked dangerous, and that was a pleasing part of the game yesterday. Like, I don't want to go too much on that. We've gone on the negatives, and there were a few yesterday, but like that was a positive. Mourinho up front, dare I say, it's been a positive.
Yeah, no, I think you know, I'm the embodiment right now of a fickle football fan. You know, you see 190 minutes and you change your mind. And to be fair, I was saying that I thought the first 30 minutes, Mourinho was struggling to get into it, as kind of most players were. I thought Martinelli was trying, Partey was playing well, Timber was showing some drive. Once he got the goal, which he took really well, and actually all his goals he's taken really well. When I look at the finish against Liverpool and his first ever goal from that set piece, you know, obviously a bit of a poacher's finish against Brentford. The Leicester finishes were brilliant. The goal against PSV was really well taken. The header against Chelsea was terrific. And now this one as well. I mean, yes, it's taken a deflection, but he's actually in a tight space, taken a brilliant touch, set it on his right foot and got a good strike away. I mean, Mourinho, what I wanted, I kind of felt even from midfield that Mourinho was a bit of a goal threat. I never really questioned that. It was more, could his kind of overall game kind of help us, you know, dominate a little bit more? Could he be the one who kind of, you know, you can give the ball to him and he'll kind of pin a defender and he'll kind of look after possession, maybe combine with the wingers a bit. But he did that brilliantly with second goal. But actually, I thought his hold-up play was terrific, especially in the second half. I thought his all-round game was really good. And I'm so glad you mentioned him dropping back into midfield, because I thought he looked really good when he did come back into that midfield position. And he was driving up the pitch a little bit more, playing a little bit closer to Declan Rice. So I think Mikel Merino is actually, you know, and actually, I'm not just saying this now. I felt this. I even did a video on my channel talking about why Merino is better than a lot of people giving him credit for. I think he will age, even if it's only for 1 or 2 seasons, maybe a third season. I think Merino will age as a fine squad player, just fine. He can do a job and he can play some games, and he, you know, and actually pretty dependent when he's a threat from goal, you know, from set pieces, or he's a general goal threat. I mean, I could see us bringing him on when we need a goal late in games next season. That's fine. That's a good weapon to have. Not even necessarily up front, even in midfield. So I'm happy for him, and I've got to credit Mikel Arteta, because while I was saying, you know, do the defensive demands and the work rate demands need to be quite as high as they seem to be, let's give credit to Arteta. We did win. We did beat Fulham. Second half certainly got better. So halftime, he must have said something that kind of woke them up a bit. So all credit there. But also for persisting with Merino up front, because he's clearly seen something as a goal threat from him that we didn't really see when all these injuries happened. So, yeah, Mikel's got that right, to the point where I'm thinking, yeah, I get it then. I mean, Marino's going to hold his place for Real Madrid if he keeps doing this. To be fair, how wrong could it really go against Everton for him to take him out against Real Madrid? So Marino's got the 9 shirt right now.
Yeah.
Crazy.
I can't give too much credit to Mikel for it. I'll be honest with you.
No,
nah. We shouldn't be in this position. And to be honest, he's just gone like for like. He's tall, he's physical, he can win some headers. Put him in there. For me, credit would have come with maybe a little tweak to the style of play. Like, look at our midfield. Like the second half, I know we got better, but we can say Arteta had a word with them, or we can say Fulham, went for it a little bit more and opened up a little bit more. So we don't really know if we
you're right.
Chelsea and United and Forest and West Ham, then there was no switch up half to half. So I can't give too much there. I just feel like, again, I'm looking at our midfield and thinking, well, you've gone Partey, Odegaard. Remember once upon a time, Partey, Rice, Odegaard, you'd be praying for the day we see them together consistently. Remember that time? It was like 2.5 years ago. Now we are seeing them, but it comes at a point where we want to be seeing something different. We should have other assets in the midfield to be able to change it up, and we don't. So Marino, I think, deserves his spot. I think his output has been good. In the first half, he had one chance in the box, weaker foot, and he gets it in, albeit a deflection. So I give credit to Marino, yes, but I still don't see Arteta having figured out something. He talked of internal solutions in January, and Marino came off the bench against Leicester and won it for us. But there still needs to be an internal solution to our midfield. And we don't seem to be able to find it because it's not good enough. Odegaard yesterday, oh my God. Yeah. I thought you couldn't get worse than before the international break. It was worse.
That first half was shocking.
The one that I would give credit to is Thomas Partey. I thought he played well all the way through the game.
Yeah.
I thought he played really, really well. I do think, I don't know how you feel about this, but with the introduction of Saka coming in there, and obviously he's not quite ready yet, but you know what I'm saying here. I felt we went up a level. I think the players went up a level. I felt Odegaard I didn't think he had a very, very good game by any stretch of the imagination, but he looks a little bit more like there was a bit of link-up play going to happen or whatever. I felt at times we was lost in midfield. Even Rice yesterday, when there's certain areas that he gets to, and then they run out of ideas. All right, I've got to check back. But when Saka come on, it was first of all that forward ball was on. You know what I mean? To play to him, and then when he got the ball, and I'm not having a go at Wanyeri when I say it's because they're different players, but he knows Saka knew when to pass, when to take on his man, when to stretch the play, and that allowed us to get a little bit more space in those little pockets in midfield. So I do feel that it will get better now with Saka in there. But Odegaard in the first half, something not quite right. There's something not quite right with him. Maybe it is Saka not being there. I thought Timber was good as well. I have to say, defensively, I thought he was very, very good. He just gets better and better. But as you said earlier on, James, I do think he's being overused. But I have to say, I thought that Thomas Partey was really, really good yesterday. Again, broke up play.
Yeah,
out of all the midfield players, listen, Declan Rice has been brilliant from January onwards. I think he's been the most consistent out of all of them. I think he's been our best midfield player consistently over the whole season.
For me at 2-0, it was a perfect time to try something a bit different. I didn't like the Ranieri. So listen, Ranieri didn't have a great game, but I think in that second half there was some space to work into. I don't think Odegaard deserved to stay on the pitch for whatever. I feel like Ranieri should have stayed on with Saka, and it was an opportunity for us. Maybe go double pivot, go Rice and Partey, protect, go Ranieri number 10. There's space to work into. You're with Saka now. Odegaard, sit it out, mate, because what the fuck are you doing? I would have liked a bit more of that instead of the whole like for like, keep the man on, try, because again, I haven't come out of Fulham thinking we've got a little plan B there to switch up to if we need a goal or we go a goal behind. I'm still looking for that. And people are going to call me negative till the realization comes against Real, where we were going to need more than just one. Like you mentioned the second goal. I love that second goal because it was just quick. You win the ball back, one pass into Martinelli. He drives, pass out, pass in, goal. Beautiful stuff. And we don't see that enough. And I think keeping Ranieri on in the space there, we would have probably seen more transitions like that, because that's all Ranieri knows. Pick up the ball and drive. And I love that he's untainted in that kind of, maybe Odegaard has been tainted by the structure and defensive side of things the last 2 years. And that's played a part, even though I'd say that's an excuse. Sometimes I look at what he does and think, nah, surely that's not instruction. But I would have liked to see Mikel be a bit more bold in that. So I think Lee, you mentioned it a couple of weeks ago with a substitution he made where it was like for like, where it was a chance to potentially do something a bit different. I think it was Martinelli up top, but he came off or whatever it was. I don't know, man. It feels like we are awaiting our, it seems like we're awaiting our fate. That's how it feels like to me. Like we can make all the reasons in the world to feel optimistic, but the reality is, I feel we all know that
You know what's coming, don't you? You know what's coming.
Yeah,
You know
like that's what I mean, Lee.
It's a funny situation. If you had said, gone to the bookies today and said, or yesterday, and said, right, Saka's going to come off, and Saka's going to come off, and Saka's going to come on, and Wanyeri's coming off. They'd have said, we ain't taking that price. You just know that was set in stone that was going to happen. Now I look at that and I think to myself, you're a young kid of 17, 18. You know it's coming. Like, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad. Do you know what I mean? You just know that, when that substitution was coming up, you knew it was going to be Wanyeri. You're right. It would have been a lovely little bit of that would have been good if it had took Odegaard off and put him in there. Like, you know what I mean? I thought, but you just knew that it was going to happen. Like, Thomas Partey going to right back, Marino going back into midfield was a guaranteed thing. Could have actually have kept Wanyeri and made maybe two. You're 2-0 up. I get that you're not going to do that, or you're 1-0 up. So there's little things in there that can do it. But if you're not going to experiment now, when are you going to? Because I don't care what anybody says, guys. Next season, we have got to have a different approach at home games. This fairness is. Say again?
No, go on. Sorry.
This approach, the way we play at home, we will drop points.
For the sake of looking at the other way, I would say that Arteta could very easily be sat on this podcast. Obviously, he wants to come on, and could easily say, guys, I'm prepping for Real Madrid. I'm not trialing and testing things. I need to get my players with a very clear game plan, with a very clear idea, ready for what they have to do for Real Madrid now. Now, I am not necessarily in that camp. I would like to have seen Trossard up front, tried that. And I actually agree. I think Wanyeri could have maybe stayed on for the 90. We could have got Odegaard off, almost more to make a point to Odegaard. Like, you didn't play well, mate, and got him off. But the argument is he wants to see Odegaard with Saka again. He wants to see Odegaard with Marino, Saka. And then, it might have to be Partey right back. So, if Timber's out, he's going to have to see a bit of that too. And it's maybe just one of those where you kind of have to prepare for it. I mean, I even noticed in the second half, and I have no idea whether this was just seeing out the last 10, 20 minutes, whether we were doing this all game. Can I be bothered to watch it back? I'm not sure I can. But we normally defend in a 4-4-2. Odegaard, I mentioned this to you on the watch-along text. Odegaard normally goes and presses with the striker. So it's 2 banks of 4 and then the 2 press. Odegaard was right next to Rice. It was Rice with Odegaard and Marino either side of him to try to see out the game. And I think that was at 2-0, not even at 2-1. So actually it definitely was, because they didn't score to the 93rd minute or something. So again, was that all preparation? Because you could understand tweaking the tactics, say, Martin, I'm going to need you now actually next to Camavinga, next to Bellingham, next to those players. Forget pressing them. We're going to have a block of 5 in front of the back 4. So I wonder whether some of that was preparations. I get you. I'd like to have seen something different, but I kind of get why maybe he was actually sort of trying to say to them, treat this like it's Real Madrid a little bit. But I'm just trying to put the other side out there.
Have you seen the results pay off? Because
no.
Because I mean, it's something that we've been susceptible to all season. But let's talk about that second half and the space that Fulham had to work into. Surely, if you're prepping for Real Madrid, that is not something you want to be seeing. And if it's something that you are seeing, I need to be seeing the fruits in attack because you've loosened up defensively, and we're not even seeing that. So I struggle to understand what the hell's going on here. Like, we're opening up a bit defensively. I'd understand it if we're opening up in the attack and being a bit more flexible and creating more chances. Then I can put a reason to why we're a bit more open at the back. But we were a bit more open. Don't forget, Fulham should have had 2. That Muniz header wide, that was mad. And there was 2 similar fast breaks down the left, ball into. I mean, it's all like, I don't know. I just don't understand it, if I'm honest. I think I would have got closer to the midfield. Yeah. Well, I'm furious. I mean, Arteta can be furious, but brother, like you said, if he's on the pod and he's talking about I'm prepping for Real Madrid, I'd be like, all right, mate. Well, how's this prep going then?
Because that's the worry for me. Like, you know, like Robbie was saying to me, you're getting the ump and all that. Like, I'm looking at these games. I'm not, you know, it is all about Real Madrid for me. Like, you know what I mean? It's Real Madrid or this season's gone, you know. Yeah. So, and I'm looking at that and going, well, how are you going to play against Real Madrid? Like, you know, how are we going to go in against Real Madrid and go, right, we're Arsenal Football Club, we're going to give it a go, or are we going to be this defensive sort of side, like, you know? And I look at it, and I don't think defensive. I know we've got good defenders. I don't think defensively, if you're going to say, right, we're going to play like Crystal Palace did against Fulham, right? If they played like that and didn't concede a goal and win 3-0, you think, wow. But we were vulnerable yesterday against a team that isn't got the firepower of a Real Madrid, like, you know. So if you're playing against Real Madrid, you've got at some stage, we've got to win that game. Yeah. It's no good going to Real Madrid drawing or whatever, like a little bit like Bayern Munich last season. We failed last season because we didn't defend properly, you know, at home again, and it cost us. And that's what I'm looking at in these games. And I'm looking at like Iwobi yesterday. I'm not having a go at Iwobi. I love him as a player, a person, and whatever. Like, he's running, you know, into our box with no. Do you know, you go to Old Trafford and all that? You would never have had that back in the day. And like, these things didn't happen, you know. And then you're playing Fulham and they're getting like, why are they getting into all those areas of space and no one challenging them? And quite rightly, you could turn around and say, well, in the first half, Thomas Partey was cutting all those things out. Thomas Partey was at right back at this stage, like, you know what I mean, when this happens. So is it because Thomas Partey's being taken out of the midfield, this is happening? And if it is, he could be a right back if Timber's not getting it. You know what I mean? We could be back into this scenario again, and we're going to get exposed all over the place, like, you know. So is there another thing that he could have done in that game? I was looking at who else could play at right back now.
To be fair, I think they were hurting us before Partey even came off.
Maybe, yeah. But I think there was a couple of last-ditch tackles.
Sorry, before Partey went to right back, before Timber came off. The thing is, the second half, in terms of chance creation, the football from Arsenal went up quite a few levels. I thought we were much better in the second half than the first half. But it came at a cost. I think that's why Arteta was furious on the touchline. Maybe why he was having a pop at Martinelli or maybe other players in terms of work rate. Because to be fair, we saw with the way they saw in the 93rd minute, the game's not won till it's won, even if you're 2-0 up going into the 90th. So I understand that. But I think what would be more concerning is he lost Gabriel and suddenly, you know.
I think they give him the ump, James. Sorry.
It must have done. He must have been absolutely furious thinking, I mean, this season's cursed. And how much of it is his fault, physio's fault, bad luck, whatever. I don't know. The owner's fault for the squad depth. We've discussed that a million times. People can let us know in the comments what they think. But the point is, ultimately, there's so much bad luck to it too in that situation as well. Gabriel just pulling up like that. Now, what I do think is concerning, I didn't really deep it till I was doing my fan cam on AFTV, is, you know, was it Partey and Saliba slip, or Saliba to who is it? 2 players slip at once, and Jimenez is in. Right, that Raya has to actually get down and make a half decent save. Muniz has missed a glorious opportunity at the back post from the Iwobi header. Yeah. Kivior's been bullied by Traore, whose shot actually was so bad it was nearly a cutback for Raul Jimenez, I think it was. But anyway, that was a moment in which they could have scored, and then ultimately they did score at the end and make it 2-1. And you look at it, you go, that's kind of 4 really good moments I've mentioned in the second half. So while I can mention Timber in the 1-2 that he should have scored from, Marino had a good shot blocked, and Martinelli had a header, and like we had moments as well. I think we could easily have got a third in that game. Martinelli just slightly offside. with that late goal, which could have easily been 3-0, not 2-1. I think we were deserving winners, but you're going to get hurt if you defend like that against Real Madrid. I don't think we'll be playing in that way. I think we'll be more conservative. But that concerns me because you don't have your best penalty box defenders. Even a Ben White would be a massive upgrade on Kivior for that game. Just Kivior dominate. He won some good headers yesterday, Kivior, but he also got bullied a few times, lost his man a few times. And it's like, Madrid will punish you. And they'll get more chances than Fulham did. So that's why I'm a bit concerned. And
he's got a mistake in him, Kivior, hasn't he? He's got.
He does. He does.
He's going to get run ragged.
Yeah, I do fear for him. I do really fear for him.
And there's half a player in there, Lee. He played a lovely ball over the top to Martinelli. He's all right. But you know what I didn't mind Kivior? It sounds awful to say. It was when he was like our 9th choice. And what I mean by that is basically, if you went through the positions, it's White, Timber at right back. It's Saliba, White, Tomiyasu at right centre back. It's probably Gabriel, Calafiori, then Kivior at left centre back. And then it's, take your pick, Lewis Skelly, Calafiori, Zinchenko, Tomiyasu, Timber, all ahead of him at left back. But we have such a crisis at the back now that Kivior going from basically like, we'll use him if we absolutely have to. He's going to have to play some football. And actually, as a player that low in the pecking order, he's good on the ball. He does okay. But it's just not, it's not going to be good enough for Real Madrid, in my opinion. Let's hope he proves us all wrong, because I don't think he's a terrible footballer, far from it. I mean, he's levels above Rob Holding, for example, in his final season. But
someone asked me a question here, so I'll throw this out at you. Who would you play there? And I said Ben White, but if he ain't been, would you? I know it's a serious question. Would you think about playing Tierney there instead of Kivior?
No, I wouldn't, because he's just not.
No. You go with, even though it's not.
I would still go with Kivior, because ultimately he's a centre back. I mean, asking Tierney to suddenly be able to just do it at centre back against Real Madrid. Do you know what did cross my mind? And
bad, not a bad shout. I'm not against it. I'm not for it. But
I just think with Kivior, you just know what's going to happen. You just know that he's going to be one that, I look back at his game against Fulham, it was his mistake, didn't get across in time. Do you remember, cost us the goal there? I can see it happening, and just the biggest game, you're right, James, when you say it, it's the biggest game of the season for us. And we're going in with our 3rd choice central defender. We've been here before, do you remember when
arguably 6th? When you talk about all the players, that's where Arteta can count himself quite unfortunate. I know we're going to sort of quickly sort of round off in a sec, and I know, Lee, you rightly mentioned Martinelli in the praise for the work rate and everything he does. We were talking about it more in the Arteta lens, but it was really good to see him just play like he backed himself. I love the way he was kind of really toying with Castagna, actually, for a lot of the game. Yeah, not every cross came off, but largely did some really good stuff. Totti had the beating with his fullback, and I really liked what he did for that 2nd goal, the burst, just to get away from the 2 players that are around him, because there's nothing too clever about that. He's a really quick player, and he just showed some confidence. Because, Lee, I mean, we've all played football, and you don't have the beating of the players around you, so you turn back, and you go, right, let me just turn back, because that's where all the players are, so I can pass the ball off. But he just went, I've got these 2. And he just drove into that space and gave it to Marino. And again, in that situation, you're feeding yourself. Listen, I've seen better players think, do you know what? I want to keep running at goal, maybe get a shot off. He very quickly recognized the run of Marino. And then the improvisation with that flick, because he absolutely meant to flick it into that area.
Unbelievable.
It was terrific, and he really came alive. And if we've got any chance of, we kept asking, how do we hurt Real Madrid? What maybe some people didn't want to say, because we've seen it for the last season or 2, is basically, well, if we get an informed Martinelli, he could do something because of his pace and dynamism. And with Saka back, you're suddenly going, maybe there's something out wide that they can do something against them.
What I liked about his performance yesterday was that he took on the fullback in the first couple of minutes, went past him, and he just thought, I've got you, and I'm going to make your life hell. He done a trick on him, and he, when he just done him in the second half, and the the fullback would have been glad to have got off the pitch yesterday. Like, you know, he made him look silly at times, and that's what you want. And he'd done it every time. I thought yesterday he was positive in everything that he done. Now, I'm not saying he's not been positive in other games. It's just not worked for him. But this one here, it did work for him. And he just said, I'm going to be positive every single time. And he looked quicker and he looked sharper. I have to say, I thought like he was brilliant yesterday. Like that's his best performance for a very, very long while. Now, people are going to say, oh, it's only Fulham. But look where Fulham are in the league. Look where they are.
I don't think you can say it's only Fulham. I mean, my word, there's like probably 13 worse teams in the league than them.
Yeah, no, I think they're a decent team, Fulham. They've got some decent players. They're a nice football team without, you know, the nasty sort of side of them. Like, you know, they're decent. And he was just a cut above yesterday. He really was. And it was nice to see. It was very, very nice to see.
Yeah, I agree. Probably his best game of the season.
Yeah, without a shadow of doubt.
100%.
Well, right timing for him. I mean, that is definitely one big
He's
positive.
done well as well, by the way. I know that he was offside. He didn't know that at that stage.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it was a good finish as well, like, you know. So all the positives there for him. Like, I really like that performance yesterday from him.
Yeah, well done.
I agree. Well, we've got Everton next before Real. I know we're all talking about Real, looking forward to Real, but there is Everton at Goodison Park. Won't be easy, but you know, how do we play it? Is it time to protect now rather than find out what we're gonna do? Or do you think there's still things we've got to find out against Everton before Real? I mean, we're in a bit of a precarious situation because I think
I'll tell you one thing, Turkish, right? We're not going to go to Goodison Park with them all wanting Arsenal to win and all wearing red shirts and things like that. Like, you know, like a certain team did last season around about this time. You're going to get a tough game from Everton. Like, you know, they're not going to roll over and die because their rivals are going to win the league. Right, you know, so we're going to go there. It's going to be tough. It's going to be a real difficult one. Like, you know, so for me, I personally think we've got to be a little bit careful this one because we've got the Tuesday game and all that. Like, I would make a couple of changes in this game, try and protect a couple of players. I think you've got to protect Saliba now. I know you've got people who are going, but with who I don't know. But this is a real difficult one for me. Like, you know, to what to do. Like, you know, it's not, Everton away. It's not the sort of thing you want 3 days before Real.
No, it's not.
It's not ideal, you know what I mean? You know they're gonna come, it's always a difficult place to go at the best of the time. So I've got no, how can I say that? I wouldn't be surprised if Arsenal lose this game. I wouldn't be. I'm not looking forward to it, to be fair.
I think it'll be a tricky one. I think, unfortunately, I don't really agree with the resting thing because, you know, then you're in danger of some of your best players going to the Real Madrid game having played one game in 3.5 weeks. And, you know, momentum, rhythm, being used to it, you know, you can't just replicate that in training so easily. So I'd be going pretty full strength, but it really massively depends on the diagnosis on a lot of these players. Because if it's a case of Timber's touch and go, White's touch and go, you cannot afford to risk them. You just fundamentally cannot do it. But if they're fine, if it was just precautionary with Ben, he's actually good. Yet Timber just came off because he still had a bit of a bruise from the kick, but he's all right. Then I want to see something like, you know, Timber, White, Saliba, Lewis Skelly, probably our 4 best defenders available at the moment. And then Saka probably starts with Marino and Martinelli as the front 3, and then you're looking at going, okay, this is probably the team for Madrid. But like I said, if any of those players are just not quite at it, then you're looking at Partey, Saliba, Kivior, and Lewis Skelly as your back 3. I mean, there's, you know, Lewis Skelly's been a gem, still only 18, still a lot to experience at this level. Kivior, well, we've said what we've said. And Partey is not a right back, and our record with Partey right back hasn't been great, though actually his best game at right back was in his biggest test at right back against Liverpool. So, I mean, and that Liverpool game sums up so much. That 2-2 back in the Emirates it sums up the position we're in now a little bit, which is I could see us showing some heart and having a bit of a depleted 11 and giving it a go and nicking a goal or two against Real Madrid, but it ultimately not being enough because you didn't have your best players there to see out the job. And that's what I worry about, that not that we're suddenly some terrible football team with even another player or two missing, but more that just we can't give it our best, and that's such a shame. So I think for Everton, you just got to get whatever best team you can out there without risking the players that are not quite fit and ready to go.
I hear it. The thing about momentum and rhythm is something we haven't found all season, though.
Not once.
I think the way we beat Real is not going to be momentum and rhythm. It's probably going to be a tactical masterclass with everyone putting in a shift and Raya pulling out a few worldies. Yeah, but I get what you're saying with the momentum and rhythm thing is the best hope we can potentially.
For the players, at least, the players at least need. It's feel of a football. It's all that. People will be surprised how much that kind of stuff can go, but it just can. Playing in an intense atmosphere. I mean, hey, Goodison Park will be loud. This is their last game against Arsenal at Goodison. I mean, I don't know how to recreate the pressures of the Bernabeu, but go to an away Premier League game. Like I mean, you're not going to recreate it at training to play these games.
No, I'm with you. Well, I mean, you mentioned Saka starting. Lee, would you start him?
No. Same. I'd give him. Do you know what? That's a great. Yeah. If you're going to start him, my money. You're playing 60 minutes and then he's off. Whatever happens.
Or just a half. Start.
Yeah.
Start, play the half, come off.
Yeah. So part of me saying but is that good preparation for an Everton game going right? Well, you're going to play half hour and then you're going to like an hour and come off. He done that with Wanyeri yesterday. To be fair, he knew that was going to happen. So, I'm going to say then do that. Then 60 minutes and off.
All right, cool. Let's do predictions. Before we do predictions, prediction table, little change.
I mean, it's looking quite good, isn't it?
It is.
But I'll let you two argue over whatever you need to argue about because.
We're not going to. We're not
waiting for my second.
No, it's not worth worrying about, is it? I mean, look, he hasn't turned up today. He don't care.
I'm here, bro. It's 9:30 in the morning. We're nearly an hour in, and you're saying I didn't turn up. It's nice though. 35. We've got 8 games to go or so. 9
I wouldn't
games.
mind, but can I just say this, right? And I just need the community to hear this, right? Yeah, I was on my Mother's Day fit, obviously on Sunday. Right, I'm 1 minute late, and he's desperately trying to knock a point off me, really, And today he's 30 minutes late, not even up, not even bothered to get up again. It's not like he's out with his family or something family orientated. He just couldn't be bothered to get up.
I was making my mum breakfast.
That's crap, as you well know. Mom. First thing he turns around and says, I'm bad, I'm sorry. He gets on. Well, I'm not having no points docked off because you was a minute late on Mother's Day like that. That was his first thing that he said to me. No, it
wasn't the first thing.
Didn't even say, my bad. He did not even say that, James. Come on, did he?
You don't appreciate my bad.
And I said to James, this will be interesting now, what he does. And he showed his true colours. A decent human being would have come on and said, "I am bang out of order. I'm insisting on having a point taken off for that."
Can I say something? Yesterday, me and James also spoke, and James, I'll quote him. He's here. He might want to fix the quote a little bit, but he said Lee's been getting away with an awful lot recently, hasn't he? And I said, yeah, but the season's nearly ending. And it is what it is, man. He's like, you got to respect Lee. He's an OG. So I said, leave him to it, man. He can be a minute late, 7 minutes late. It's all right. Well, we're not winning the league. James, was that the conversation, how it went yesterday?
Something like that.
Yeah.
And then you went and rocked up 25 minutes late to make me feel like a complete.
Sorry about that. Last night when I was going to bed setting my alarm, I was thinking, Like all jokes aside, I was thinking, well, it's kind of it is a joke, so it's not a side.
The trouble is now, like you just give everybody permission to just think, well, right, okay.
You've done that. You know how many times you've been late in the
I have
last.
never ever, right. Let's get this true. Ever been 25 minutes late? I've never
Oh,
been
yeah,
a day
yeah,
late.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like at the end of the day, 1 or 2 minutes is forgivable. I get that, but
Okay,
not
what about
turning up.
how comes you didn't put on your favorite Johnny Cochran suit when Jordan 10 minutes before a show in the morning said, "Oh, I can't do the show today. We're gonna have to move it completely." Why didn't you bring out your lawyer suit then and come out with this vim?
Because he's not serial. He's not a serial killer, is he?
He killed
He's not
someone.
serial.
What do you mean? What, one person's okay?
He's like, you know,
Look
like,
at you
there is a
stuck.
thing in law, even in law, you know what I mean? You get warnings every now and then, like, you know what I mean? But you've gone beyond that. You've absolutely gone beyond that. You know
You
what I mean?
get warnings.
Realistically.
Even
Ah,
in
you
law, you get
kill
warnings.
someone, mate. Like I'd slow down on the killing if possible. Yeah, otherwise there might be a sentence
Look,
coming.
we frown upon that. You could just not.
Cool. Let's just.
Well, you
let's
both got away with it, quite frankly. Lee was late the other day. Turkish is late today. I'm winning the league. You're both miles off it. I mean, the real story here is that you're 15 points off top, guys. Wow,
Yeah,
you both got a star to your name. Do you know what? You two are Arsenal. You used to be competing at the top. Now you're fighting for third. Just
And it was looking so good for me at one stage yesterday. Like, you know, 2 on the trot, that would have been like yesterday, like, you know what I mean? So
yeah, that would have been me out of it. I would have been confirmed last if it stayed 2-0. But we are 35 apiece, Lee. Yeah, we'll keep it going for game's sake. I know I was late today. I was late the other day. You had
I'm happy to go with game's sake, like, you know what I mean? So
yeah. My mum liked her breakfast, by the way. She just shut it up. So
I'm so pleased for her, like, you know what I mean? Like,
Did your mum make it home, Lee?
yeah, she's all right, like, you know what I mean? She doesn't like Turkish no more, like, you know what I mean?
Michelle don't like me. Your mum doesn't. Bloody hell. You don't like me. The judges don't like Turkish. It's mad. Let's do predictions. James, kick us off.
Yeah, I'm with Lee. I don't know if we're gonna lose. I don't think we're gonna win. I think Arteta will be really onto them. Standards, Real Madrid coming up, all that. I'm gonna go for a 1-1.
1-1. Jordan's also gone 1-1. So we've got 2 1-1s at the top of the table. Oh, Sham third. I forgot what it feels like not to be last. 1-1, 1-1. I'm gonna go 2-1 Arsenal again. 2-1 Arsenal. Lee.
1-0 Arsenal.
1-0 Arsenal. All right, 2-1, 1-0. 2 Arsenal wins for third and fourth. 1-1 for first and second. Let us know yours in the comment section below.
You guys think Arsenal are going to win this game? I'm not even saying that like, oh, we're never going to win.
I don't think we will. I think
what's going on, bro? I'll be honest with you, man.
Yeah, okay. I don't really want to be wishing for an Everton win at this stage.
No one's wishing. We just
listen. You two, I bet you two were jumping up when that goal went in yesterday. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you know, when it was 3-0, you was probably even happier, like thinking, "Oh, that's done the judge." You know what I mean? Like, you know.
No, we did. That's literally what we said. We went brilliant. We'll judge them. But when they scored, I actually said on the watch along, I wouldn't mind Fulham getting one back in like the 95th minute. It was just a couple minutes too early for me. I went, oh no. And they actually did have a corner and a little moment where I went, oh my word, they could be in here.
Horrendous.
But you know, I'm in a title race. Arsenal aren't.
Yeah, you are. I mean, it's not a race. I mean, you're like Liverpool. Just gone with the wind. All right, let's do comments of the day. Predictions done. Comments of the day. We're doing it today, or you know?
Where are I?
I've got two good ones.
That's another thing as well. Do you know how many? Do you remember comments of the day was meant to be a 1 point docked? Do you know how many times we've let Lee off without doing comments of the day and reading it?
I said
he's probably 7 points. Lee, don't forget that. How many times I've let you off? Yeah.
Right. Yes. Yeah. I'm so pleased.
Look at him now racing to find a comment, but
yeah, do you know what?
He's doing it again.
Yeah.
No, I've got. I don't know where. I don't know what's going on with my phone at the minute. I'll tell you my comment, right? And it is a good one. Oh, I know where I put it. Yes, sorry. Go on, go. I've got it.
I know where we put it. So...
I put it in the Fourever Arsenal group, didn't I?
Oh, okay.
All right, let me just jump in and
Yeah.
so
Go on then.
Jack Palfreman, I hope I pronounced it right, says, honestly, James might be from the future. The predictions this season have been phenomenal. He actually jumped back in after the result to post that comment. So thank you. And I like this from Joseph Hall as well. You guys got Joseph Hall's one?
Oh, I've got that one, man. That one.
You do it then. You do it.
Joseph, big up Joseph. He said Lee Judge's rant to start generational, incoherent, lacked fluency, and just went on too long. To be honest, I was looking at my ankle to check the time. Bro, that is
quality. That was quality.
So good.
I'm looking at my ankle to check the time, for fuck's sake.
Yeah. That was really good. Well played.
That was brilliant, right? You know. I've got two. I've got my first one is Mama Judge forced to get a late night bus home alone in London on Mother's Day. Mental, real dedication from Lee, And the other one, which did make me laugh, Lee going off at Turkish is absolute gold. Turkish just sits there sipping his tea, couldn't care less, and that is true. Because he's 25 minutes late today. Couldn't care less.
No, I care. I do care. But I can't give you too much, D, because you run away with it and take them out. With James. I'll speak to you on the side. I'll express my sincere apologies once we come.
Absolutely, mate. I look forward to the card.
People, hopefully you've enjoyed. Lee, love you, mate. James, love as always. People, individual channels, Lee Judges TV, Gooniverse 2, Turkish LDN, The Big Six. And the other fella's got a YouTube channel as well. He's not here now, so fuck it. We won't let you know. I'm joking. Whisper it loudly, people. Whisper it loudly. Make sure
the other fella.
go show love. Love for the love. And we'll be back Monday morning. Make sure you're there, people. The big one before Real Madrid. Peace. We're out.
And you, Turkish. Make sure you're there.
24 minutes. I'll make it next time. I'm sorry, Lee. I'm so sorry, mate. So sorry.